Ici Londres.
According to the IMF, 90% of global growth will come from outside the European Union. That's the basic argument for Britain leaving the customs union. As long as we're in the EU, we can't sign our own free trade agreements with the US, the world's fastest growing economy, or China, its second economy, or old allies like Australia, or fast developing economies like India. But let's flip it around. What would be the argument for staying in the customs union if we were leaving the EU? Now, I'm not sure that the people pushing this option have really thought it through. Staying in the customs union, if we were outside the EU, would mean giving Brussels 100% control of what our trade policy vis-à-vis third countries would be, with 0% input into that policy ourselves. It's pretty much the only way that leaving would be worse off than where we are now. If we left and kept the customs union, that would be the worst of all worlds. In fact, it's even worse than that. This is a slightly wonkish but terribly important point that needs to be made. If you keep a customs union with the EU from the outside, in the way that Turkey does, you find that it only applies to the obligations on you vis-à-vis third countries, not to any reciprocity from the other country. Okay, let me explain what I mean by that. When the EU signs a free trade agreement with, say, South Korea, Turkey is obliged to match all of the tariff reductions and liberalizations that the EU 28 have made. But whereas South Korea agrees to make equivalent reductions for the 28, it's under no obligation to do that to Turkey. So it really is an unbelievably bad situation. You've got to ask, why is anyone arguing for this bizarre outcome? One possibility is they don't really know what it's about, that Brexit has become a sort of emotional, tribal thing for them, that they're snatching at anything that can be portrayed as a win. The other is that they know exactly how bad it would be to stay in the customs union, and they know it makes sense only as a transitional arrangement prior to coming back into the EU. Well, if that's their point of view, at least man up and say so. Don't insult our intelligence like this.